Hello to the first person who arrived to this live video. I hope all is well with you. This is a random video, nothing really in place of a structure or anything like that. If this is your first time at my video, watching my videos, I'm very sporadic. I don't really have a schedule. I just get on when I can and just go from there. So thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Let's see. Where should I start? Okay, so it is August now. And let's go backwards. So on August the 9th, it is considered World Indigenous Peoples Day. Throughout the entire globe, Indigenous people are being celebrated. And the United Nations is one entity that has really highlighted Indigenous peoples worldwide. And so, yeah, that was August the 9th. And every August the 9th is when that is celebrated, August the 9th of every year. So just a FYI, World Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay. For the next 10 years, they're going to focus on linguistics, preserving language. Because one thing about indigenous populations, unfortunately, when they are being encountered by outsiders and feeling the need to assimilate, a lot of their customs, traditions, and unfortunately, languages are sacrificed. And so, language is a big deal for the next 10 years, just so you know. Let's see. Let me look that up. World Indigenous. Indigenous. Yeah, so this year, because every year they have a theme, okay, when it comes to World Indigenous Peoples Day, right? International Day of World's Indigenous Peoples. That's the formal title of it. And so this year it was highlighting women, okay? I'll just read a little bit from the United Nations website, okay? The role of Indigenous women in the preservation and transmission of traditional knowledge. Indigenous women are the backbone of Indigenous peoples' communities and play a crucial role in the preservation and transmission of traditional ancestral knowledge. They have an integral collective and community role as carers of national resources and keepers of scientific knowledge. Many Indigenous women are also taking the lead in the defense of Indigenous peoples' lands and territories and advocating for Indigenous peoples' collective rights worldwide. Let me jump down a little bit here. Small but significant progress has been made by Indigenous women in decision making processes in some communities, achieving leadership in communal and national roles. We know a few, right? Uh, and stood on the protest front lines to defend their lands and planets, decreasing biodiversity. And just a FYI, I know someone who is planning a trip to DC coming up next month. And let's see. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. She just posted it on Facebook. And just so you know, I basically post quite a bit on Facebook, and I have an Instagram page. Instagram is probably where I feel the most comfortable sharing my page. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram page is Empress Bina. Empress Bina, Binah, okay? If you want to follow me again on Instagram, because I spend quite a bit of time over there posting and things of that nature. Let me see. I know she just posted it. Okay. So there's they're planning, let's see. They're planning a rally in DC for September the 8th. Okay. This is in regards to a pipeline. Let's see. The MVP permitting a side deal resulting from this. The Climate Bill or Inflation Reduction Act has a side deal. So communities are now collateral damage, so we can say we are hitting a climate goal. In reality, carbon pipelines via carbon sequestration are not going to do anything to solve climate, but will line the pockets of fossil fuel coronations. It will take land by eminent domain and give big oil lots of material to run ads pretending they are climate champions. But climate solutions should never put communities at risk. And parts of the bill do precisely that and refuse for us to be a sacrifice for the fossil fuel industry. I'm going to jump down a little bit here. It says, let's see. Okay, this is damage to the tribes, period. Because many tribes who use NEPA as leverage to get tribal consultation. So NEPA stands for, let's see if she spelled out the acronym. NEPA. I don't see her spelling out what the acronym is, but anyway, the side deal to the climate agreement between Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, and Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat, West Virginia, includes a compromise that would change the way states issue Clean Water Act permits, potentially making it easier for developers to build pipelines, according to a draft text reviewed by Bloomberg Law. We are working on stipends to get people there, so please stay tuned. So they're in the planning stage of this, and they're trying to get this going for September the 8th. So yeah, that's what's in the works right now. Again, this is in regards to MVP pipeline. Okay, so that's just one thing that's in the works right now, coming up. And back to this UN website that I was reading, the theme for this year's World International Indigenous People Day, or International Day of World's Indigenous Peoples, which was August the 9th. So the reality, however, remains that Indigenous women are widely underrepresented, disproportionately negatively affected by decisions made on their behalf, and are too frequent the victims of multiple expressions of discrimination and violence. This International Day of Indigenous Peoples, let's reclaim the role of these heroines. Okay, so they had a virtual commemoration on August the 9th from 9 a.m. to 11. I think it might have been all day. And you can go to the UN website. I'm sure they have a link or something to the actual event, because again, it was virtual, and it was held. It typically is held in New York City, by the way. But anyway, I wanted to highlight that because I did a bit of research prepping for my monthly meeting. I created this Indigenous Peoples affinity group through my job. So this is like volunteer work. This is something that is a precursor or a prerequisite to creating an employee resource group. Employee resource groups, I just found out about with this new job that I got started back in January of 2001, but they're really big on creating safe spaces for members of communities that don't have safe spaces. I think we know who they are, right? And so they have one for different groups of people. And then I thought, well, I don't see anything specifically for Indigenous American people, right? Indigenous American people are within those other groups like LGBTQ plus and things of that nature, but there's no specific group that's for Indigenous. I say Indigenous American in the Caribbean region. So basically, the Western Hemisphere. that's my platform right now, and I'm getting some momentum. But in order for it to turn into an ERG or employee resource group, I have to have several people that want to contribute to these meetings, not just be spectators, but actually like be co-host and all that. And I have to get sponsors, meaning the higher up level, corporate level leaders have at least one or two that will sponsor this ERG group. So that's what I'm in the works of doing now. I'm volunteering as chairwoman of this affinity group. So I say all of this because recently I conducted a virtual meeting through Microsoft Teams, because that's what we use on the job when we do presentations and stuff. And I went ahead and did that. And each month thus far, I found something that I could kind of add an Indigenous American perspective, right? Like jazz music month, jazz history, whatever, women's month, women's history month, and things of that nature. So like I was doing it based on the month and whatever's being celebrated. I was trying to have the Indigenous perspective, and there's different perspectives. Obviously there's not one perspective. I mean, Indigenous peoples have so many traits and traditions and opinions and perspectives. So I'm not saying that what I'm saying is specifically for everybody that's Indigenous American, right? We're not talking about that. I'm just saying my perspective coming from an Indigenous American background and what I've experienced thus far by being engaged with other people who are members of other Indigenous American communities. So basically what I'm saying is that's what I was trying to do, and that's what I have been doing. But then when I came to the month of August, I'm like, there's no national whatever heritage month or whatever in the month of August. So I just Googled, I'm like, Indigenous people, Indigenous American August. And then that's when I found out through research for my volunteer position that August the 9th is set aside to celebrate Indigenous peoples worldwide, right? So that's how I kind of got on that topic. And I did talk a little bit about the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And that's a sticky topic because Indigenous peoples globally versus Indigenous American US citizen folks, it's a lot more red tape. Because as an Indigenous American woman, anywhere else outside of this damn country, they will acknowledge me as an Indigenous American woman. That I have the right to a nationality. I have a right to tribal connections. I have a right to speak my native tongue, right? I have those rights. But when you are in this state, the United States is one of, and when I say states, as far as globally, states are considered through, let's say, the United Nations, right? States are considered like countries, not like here where we have the United States of America and is one country. So when I say states outside of the United States, I mean countries. But inside the states and inside the United States, I mean actually states in the United States. So we're talking about the United States right now. So within the United States, with regards to the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, they support the idea, but they don't endorse it. Out of 144 countries, or outside of this country, they call them states, 144 endorsed the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, but the United States supported it. So there's a difference. And with regards to supporting it, they're only narrowing it down based on federally recognized tribes, not individuals, tribes. So if you have the time or interested or whatever, I would suggest you check out the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, because it's something that makes sense to me. Like with all the BS, and in this country is all about being an enrolled member of a federally recognized tribe versus just being Indigenous American. I mean, that enrollment is not going to necessarily like take away your genetic makeup, your DNA. That don't go away, people. That's still there. It's still there. That don't go away. Let me see if I can get this chat going, because I feel like you guys don't have the option to do the chat box. So let me see. And last time I did this, there was something going on with the chat. So let me see if I can get that going. Okay. I feel like I should be able to do that. And last time I played with this thing, let's see. I want the chat box to work. I think it's because I set this for anybody, including children, can watch this. So that's why that's why the comments aren't working. So let me see if I can change that, if I can. Sorry, guys. Let me see if that works. This whole kid thing is kind of getting on my nerves. All right, I think I saved it. I think I might be able to get the chat going. Let's see. Okay, I think the chat box should be working. Wherever the chat box is. I don't know where the chat box is. This is ridiculous how they like to improve technology. I sound old, right? They want to improve technology, but then it's like you got to take a damn course to figure out what they did. So anyway, the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Again, I would suggest you guys check it out. It's like 32 pages. And I did highlight in that presentation a couple of articles that anywhere else outside of the United States, right, that would be just self-explanatory. But here, it's like you got to just go down a damn rabbit hole all the time. It's BS. And it's BS because It has everything to do with ownership, self-sufficiency, money, and power. That's all. I feel like it was article. Let me see. I feel like it was article. Article 9 was one of them. Indigenous peoples and individuals have the right to belong to an indigenous community or nation in accordance with the traditions and customs of the community or nation concerned. No discrimination of any kind may arise from the exercise of such right. Now that's very self-explanatory, right? Article 9, very self-explanatory. Outside of the United States. Inside the United States, there's no individuality, nothing. It's all about enrolled tribal members, not individuals. So, and it's based on the customs of that community, right? It's based on the customs of that community. So, if the customs of that community believe that um, uh, it's based on the paternal line, right? Like, oh, you have to be 100% whatever band, tribe, clan, or whatever on your mother's side. So if your mother is Apache or something, then you will follow that line when it comes to preserving your traditions and customs and language and enrollment and all of that, right? Um, Even though your father's side, you're probably indigenous too, but not enough of the connection there. Be it, you know, maybe this particular community says it has to be on your mother's side and you have to be at least 50% indigenous through your mother's side, all right? Versus your father's side, it might be where you have to be, you know, 1/4 or half or whatever the nonsense is when it comes to that mess. Maybe on your father's side you didn't have enough to be on that side, and your father's side is based on the father's line or whatever. But typically the customs is that you follow your mother and you follow her mother all the way back, right? um that's traditional customs for many indigenous communities, so it's based on their customs, their traditions, whatever. But outside of this country, they're talking about people, individuals, individual indigenous people versus the community itself. And again, in this country is based on federally recognized tribes and enrolled members, not just somebody saying, oh yeah, I'm connected to them, genetically, uh two generations back or whatever. Nah. So this declaration, it sounds good and everything, but at least in this country, there's still a ton of red tape. But indigenous peoples worldwide is worldwide, not just worldwide and then exception United States of America. That's the exception, but everything else is worldwide, whatever. So anyway, I did talk a little bit about the Declaration again, of the rights of indigenous peoples, right? um, you have a right to have a nation. Now, on the flip side, they'll say, well, you do have a nation. You're a citizen of the United States, right? So you have a nation. It's not like you out there and you don't have a country. That's the other side of the coin. Um, but yeah, so I talked about that and everything. Let me see. What else? What else? What else? Um, what else has been going on? It's funny because we just had the date 8/8, August the 8th, right? And that is also considered the Lion's Gate portal. And I have forgot all about that. And it's funny because on that date, I felt the need to sage throughout the throughout the house, sage myself, burn some incense, you know, listen to, uplifting sounds and high vibrations and stuff like that. And I did all of that, not knowing that it was the Lion's Portal Gate. So, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, let me just do a quick search here and read it to you. Um, and this is astrology, by the way, for those who are interested in that. Um, The Lionsgate portal is trending on Google because astrologists consider today, August 8th, to be one of the luckiest dates ever. So, what exactly is the Lionsgate portal? Why is it considered so lucky? And most importantly, how can you reap the rewards? Basically, the Lionsgate portal is like a cosmic holiday that occurs every year when a certain alignment happens in the sky. The portal is open from July the 26th through August 12th, but its powers are most potent today, which was August 8th when this article was written, making it the prime time to manifest exactly what you want. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I believe not only did I burn incense and sage and bay leaves, for those who know what that means, bay leaves is considered lucky, isn't a lucky herb. Um, but I think I might have, hold on, I think I might have jotted something down in my journal here. Again, forgetting all about the whole Lion's Portal thing. Let me see. I might share something with you guys. Again, in my journal, I'm always periodically now, not every day, but every couple of weeks or so, I'll jot down in my journal in the present tense for future events that I expect to manifest in life, right? So let me see if I wrote that down. Let's see here. I feel like I did write it down on a date, but for some reason I didn't write the date that I wrote it down. I feel like, yeah, I think I wrote. I'm about to read it. I just want to make sure I'm reading the right one. Hold on. I'll read some of this. Again, this again is for those that don't know, this is one of my journals. And this is where again I scribe. I'm sorry, I script. I do scripting where I write in my journal what I expect in life in the present as if it's already done. Like I'm not asking or nothing like that. I'm actually just giving gratitude for what has happened, but I'm writing it in a journal as if it's present. That's what, that's what many believe you can do to manifest what you desire, right? So I'm going to read. Okay, you ready? I'm going to read what I jotted down on the date of 8/8. and it was the Lionsgate portal. So let's see. Oh, let me just read this article a little bit further down. Uh, repeating this is a recommendation for manifestation. Repeating the following affirmation several times while focusing on what you really want from life. You are living in your dream home. You have all you manifested. You can hear the abundance around. You are surrounded by those who light up your soul. You are wearing the perfume your highest self would wear. Embody this dream life. Visualize your manifestations. Awaken your soul. Affirmation to repeat. I am abundant in all areas of my life. Okay. So anyway, this is what I did. Again, I'm burning sage and bay leaves and all of this stuff, opening the windows, hitting my wind chime and all that. So anyway, I said this. I said, I won the freaking $1 billion mega meal jackpot lottery in 2022. Okay, well, obviously somebody else won, but again, I am putting this out there in the universe. I said, I did. Life is superb for me and my loved ones, close friends, and communities, Afro-Indigenous, period. We are healing and moved on from trauma, disappointment, and lack. We reign, we love, we protect, we govern ourselves. It's so funny. I have been meeting with trustworthy tax accountants, lawyers of all disciplines, setting up living revocable and irrevocable trusts in order to collect the winnings as discreetly as possible. Now, let me stop you there. I live in a state where when you do win the lottery, you literally have to expose your privacy. Like, you have to go on TV, hold the check and all that, and sign and all of that. Not the case in some states. Like in the state of Maryland, you can keep that real discreet. But of course, I don't live there anymore. And I'm not complaining about that. I mean, I'll still take the money if people see my face. But at the end of the day, I'll have it like in a trust or something like that. So again, you're speaking in the present as if it's already done. Okay. I bought a wig. Fat suit, meaning like I'm looking extra big, right? Sunshade, just everything that no one would think it was me on TV collecting the check. So I have a wig on, I'll put on a fat suit, I have these big old dark glasses along with my mask, the C word, right? Some of them still, some people are not wearing masks, others are, but I'll have a mask on, right? Like right up here with the glasses and the wig and the fat suit. Bina Legacy's Living Trust. That's what I was thinking. I have one trust for real estate, one trust for investment properties, one trust for 401k, life insurance, bank accounts, IRA, stocks, bonds, CDs, set up business, LLCs, and whatever is the most protected from creditors. That's the point of people setting up their LLCs and living trusts and things of that nature. They're somewhat of a safe, not necessarily a safe haven, but it's a way where if something were to go down, it wouldn't be linked up to your personal belongings, like your house, your car, whatever like that. It will be strictly the LLC, the entity, that will be attacked or whatever financially. I have so many resources at my disposal that health insurance is not a necessity. The health insurance industry is a joke. I don't care how you slice it or dice it. It's a joke. Not only are you paying premiums every month through your employer if you're employed through someone's, business, or you have your own business or whatever. The point is you're paying premium for your health care. Then you got to turn around in some cases and pay the deductible, which you have to do every year before they pay anything. And then you have to pay copay and or co-insurance or whatever. And sometimes you have to pay, depending on, how high your deductible is or whatever. Sometimes you have to pay like almost $2,000 before the insurance itself will even kick in. And if you're the type of person that's, basically, a healthier type person, right? You're not going to be getting all these things done. That's going to cost you at least $2,000 for insurance to kick in. Then once the insurance kicks in, then they decide they want to be picky about every little thing. Like, well, we're only going to spend $100 for something that was charged for $350, right? The doctor, the provider, charge $350 for something, $350, but then your insurance come like, well, we're only gonna cover 100% of what we think it should be cost, what we think it should cost. We think that service should cost $100. So the service is already done, right? There ain't no going back, taking out fillings and whatever you got done throughout your body. Like there's no going back, undoing a surgery, right? The surgery is done. There ain't no going back. So now it's like, oh, that was supposed to be covered 100%. Oh, it's not going to be covered because we think it should only be $100. So we're going to cover $100, but you got to take care of the $250. Nonsense. So anyway, in my journal, healthcare is not necessary. I'm good. We gonna be all right. That's what I put in there. My communities are balanced and affluent and powerful and protected, self-sufficient. And so it is. Already done now. And then I go on. I said, thank you, source of all. Right? Creation in and outside of time, in and outside of dimensions and realities. Okay, we being real specific. High vibes, clean environment, clean air, water, food. We are limitless and happy, loving each other in the healthiest ways. Right? So what did we say? We say is it fire, water, air, earth? Anyway, I'm kind of like thinking out. I'm thinking to myself, but speaking out loud. Anyway, and it goes on and on and on. Like I was just, again, for whatever reason, that day, which was August 8th, which was the Lions Portal, Lions Portal Gate, or the Lions Gate Portal. That's what they call it. I just decided to start writing in my journal again, burning sage, opening the windows. It was just like a fresh start type thing. And unknowingly thinking that the Lions Gate was the next day. So then when I thought about it, I said, wait a minute. I did all of that yesterday, thinking that today, which was the 9th, thinking that was the day that was Lions Gate. But no, it was 8/8, right? So anyway, I did all of that subconsciously, but I guess my higher self said, okay, do this today. You got the time, you got the space, no one's here. You can just smoke everything out, whatever energies that don't serve me, smoke it out, open the windows. And so that's what I end up doing. And so yeah, that was on the Lions Gate, and I ended up doing that. And then let me see, the full moon, I didn't put my crystals out or anything like that, because I typically set the crystals. This is a sliding door that's facing the side of the side where, at least during the summer, the moon is on this side. So the moon shines in through this door. And so I place them down here in front of the sliding door so they can get charged. But then I purchased a selenite crystal bowl. And selenite is known for charging your crystals and cleansing them, right? So I went ahead and bought one like 2 months ago. And so I kind of been slacking with putting my crystals out during, I put my crystals in the full moon. I charge my crystals in the full moon. You know, y'all, if y'all are a fan of that artist, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, so I typically do that during a full moon to charge them and stuff. But now I have the selenite crystal bowl, and like these crystals here, right? These crystals here, my rings are crystals, right? I just put them at night. I'll just put them, like some of these, I'll put them in that bowl. So by the next day, you know, they're charged and they're cleansed and everything like that. And so that's what I do. Now, these earrings are not crystals, but I did buy it at crystal shop slash a crystal shop slash restaurant, and they were selling this, and there was a card next to it. It's called Swahili Coast Doing Good Matters. I thought they were really cute. You know how I like dangly earrings, for those that keep up with me, right? So on the back of this card, it says, "Our Story." Swahili Coast is a North Carolina-based brand working in partnership with artisans in East Africa to handcraft sandals and accessories. All of our beadwork is done by our partner cooperative in Tanzania. The worker-owned cooperative operates on a model of total transparency, where all members of the co-op are part owners of the business. Through the structure, artisans are able to share in the profits of the business. We call the strategy power over pity. The artisans we work with are our friends and partners, and it is an absolute joy to work with them each day, tackling poverty with community-owned solutions. We focus on empowering our artisans partners rather than pitying them. Our partners are making a good wage and working hard to create a future for themselves and their families. Through Swahili Coast, we celebrate their talents. Learn more at www.swahilicoastdesign.com. And apparently, the younger folks think that when you say www that you're kind of old school. It's not necessary. But anyway, so this is the card that came with the earrings. And like I said, I really like these earrings. They're dangly or whatever. So when I bought some crystals at this place not too far from here, let me see if I can find the name of it. They have pretty good food, and me being like vegetarian slash sometimes vegan, they had a really good good selection, because around here people like to eat seafood and pork. So and I don't eat seafood and pork. So it's like I gotta find my niche. I gotta find my peoples that think like me. So let me see if I can find the name of it. It's called Avenue something. Let me see. Avenue Grill and Goods. Yeah, Avenue Grill and Goods. The customer service is great. The people there, they also have like yoga classes and Reiki and all of that. So that's kind of up my alley, right? And And when I say that, I'm not what you call a type of person that is comfortable around people that are just so high vibrations that they just kind of float away type people. I like balance, and I like people that are balanced. And I was there and I felt like, the people there seemed genuinely nice. I bought a couple of things there in their gift shop while I was waiting for a table. And like I said, they do have like a connected studio, but they have yoga classes, Reiki, and meditation, stuff like that. So, anyway, I felt like with them having this displayed, right, selling items through that co op, and like it's beadwork and it's very pretty. Swahili, right? Anyway, I don't know if you can see it, but it's very pretty. I like beadwork. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get it. It cost about $28, so it didn't break the bank. And like I said, that particular place I really like because they had crystals. I charge my crystals on a full moon. So anyway, so yeah, Avenue Grill and Goods. So I think initially it was just a restaurant, and then over time it kind of graduated to an actual shop where you can buy different things. You can buy a couple of apparels, clothing, some shoes. It's a cute little gift shop type thing. And the food was very, very good. I got like a grilled cheese mushroom sandwich or something. And then I was like, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and try that flatbread too, margarita, whatever they called it. Both dishes was very good. And like I said, the customer service was great. And it's just a different vibe. Like around here, most people are like rugged. But the further north you go in the county, you have more people who are open-minded, if that makes sense. So I stumbled across that place and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I kind of contemplated like, I see there's some condos that's in that shopping area. You know how you have those what they call a multi-purpose what do they call that when you have the business at the bottom of the building and up top you have residential areas. So it's kind of set up like that where you had condos up top and then at the bottom you have restaurants and ice cream shop and retail and stuff like that. But then I was like, okay, I know myself. When I'm ready to go to sleep, I'm still gonna hear people, that's visiting, because most of these people that visit, they are up all night playing music, laughing and drinking and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I might be living there, but some of them condos are probably investment properties, and some of those condos probably going to be full of people that are traveling. So I was like, I don't know, that's a little bit too close. But I like the little area, and there is another crystal shop around the corner that I discovered because I'm never in that part of the county. But I went there just to kind of like get away and treat myself or whatever. And I'm glad I did. But the other shop was let me see how I can say this without being judgmental. The other shop I went to is a shop that has crystals and herbs and things of that nature. But on the flip side, there was a section that was tailored to low vibrational activity, low vibrational tools. And I was like, I'm cool going into a shop like this because I've been in shops that are very in your face. Like when you first go into the shop, you see everything. that's designed for destruction, those who are on that path. And, I'm more balanced. Like, I'm more about cloaking myself, right? Cloaking myself and protecting myself and receiving high vibrations. But when I say balance, that means there is a line drawn. Don't cross that line. But then when I went in the shop, it was like everything was like, don't cross that line. No. You could just tell that this shop was for those who don't mind getting dirty. And I did buy I think I bought like one thing out of there. And it literally has been on my selenite bowl for about 2 months. It has like, okay, so it's like when you have loose leaves or tea leaves, you put it in one of these little pouches, and then that way you can just dip it in the hot water and then let it steep, right? So I bought that, but on the end of that is like a crystal at the end. And so basically I had this tea cup crystal thing that I got from that don't cross that line shop or else shop. I had it in that selenite bowl to cleanse it for like 2 months because I got it back in June. So anyway, but I'm glad it's a shop there because again, it symbolizes that little spot or that part of the area is it's not secretive, because when you go to some places it's like, where is the spiritualist people? Like, where are the people that are earth-based faith type people? There's different words, different titles, right? But yeah, I'm like, where are all these people? Like, I'm looking online through Facebook. I'm trying to find people that are like-minded spiritually, and it's like kind of hidden. But like in that part of the county when I went, it was like that shop of all shops, don't cross the line or else type vibe. Destructive vibe energy. And then they got a website, so you buy stuff through that website, to get the job done if somebody pissed you off. Yeah, I was like, okay, well, that goes to show that obviously there are people like that around here that are shopping at this shop. But again, I went in there and I saw some oils. The oils looked like they might have been homemade. And I was like, I don't know about that. I mean, I know oils, like right now I'm wearing essential oils. It's a blend. It's called Stress Away. And I got that from Young Living. Young Living is a popular essential oil brand. And so, I like to wear essential oils and things of that nature, whatever that's captured from that plant, the essence of that plant that I want to, utilize. And so Stress Away has like, I feel like there's like lavender in it and whatever other oils is good for calming, right? So I trust Young Living. But when I went in that shop, it just looked like it was homemade, and I don't know what kind of energy. Well, let me take that back. Let me not be judgmental, because I don't know what kind of energy was put into my Young Living essential oils, my Stress Away essential oils. I don't know. That's why it's best to cleanse everything. Even the clothes you wear that you bought from Macy's or wherever you buy your clothing. Like, people touch the clothing, people try on the clothing. You don't know what kind of vibe that's still lingering on these clothes. So I don't want to again be judgmental, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, they look like somebody down the street just put oil in the bottle, and I don't know what kind of vibe that they feeling. Don't cross that line or else kind of shop. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm, interested in that. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to get the comment box open. For whatever reason, it's just not showing me on this end. So I might have to just look at the comments. If you left comments, maybe you hadn't. For those that's been looking, I'm gonna go through my cell phone and see if anybody left any comments, because I feel like I'm talking to myself. And that's fine if I recorded this, that's fine, but this is live, so I want to make sure. Okay. Okay, I do see Sweet. Hi, Sweet. It never fails. It seems like you always are chiming in. I appreciate you taking the time out. Legend of Naga Charlie says power or power. Sweet against his nice earrings. So that was a while ago, obviously. Sweet says, still here. No, I went to live chat, then it worked. Okay. You went to live chat and then it worked. Okay. All right. Post something else real quick so I can make sure that I can see your comment. For whoever's still around, just type something. Okay. Hi, Sweet. Thanks for posting that. So at least I can see your comments here, because on my laptop, for whatever reason, I don't see the chat. So whatever, I can see you over here. Okay, so so anyway, yes, the earrings. I really like these earrings. I really like these earrings. Again, Swahili beadwork, and I love it. And last time I wore some earrings that were sweetgrass earrings. The Gullah Geechee community, that's a thing. That's in my opinion iconic, right? They're grass, woven grass, sweetgrass earrings and whatever baskets that they make. And so it was like I wanted to get that. And I'm gonna say this: just because somebody's wearing beadwork, that does not necessarily mean that is Indigenous American work, right? Just because someone has woven sweetgrass into a basket or accessories or something like this or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that's Indigenous American, right? That could just be, you know, skills or whatever that came from a totally different country, a totally different region of the world. But I wanted to specifically say that these earrings were made by people in Swahili. Okay. So I wanted to give them a shout out. It's beautiful beadwork. Beautiful beadwork. I love it. Love the beadwork. Very beautiful. And they're not heavy, which I like too. Because sometimes beadwork earrings that dangle low like this can be heavy. So anyway, so Let me see. So we're talking about the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and I talked about the International World Indigenous Peoples Day, which is always August the 9th. So just keep that in mind if you ever wanted to, uh, give them a shout out or whatever on Facebook, or you want to share it on Facebook just to get the word out that, there are indigenous people all over the world. So when I say I am Indigenous American, I mean I am indigenous to the Americas. When I say I'm African American, I'm saying that I am a U.S. citizen that have African American roots, right? I have African sub-Saharan ties to the continent of Africa. Now, there's some controversy when it comes to that, but that's me. This is my identity. My identity is African American, Indigenous American. Okay? That's my identity. I am from the southeast region of the United States. We are people with that had to endure the first contact of foreigners from Europe. First contact. So that's that. Let's see. I like to watch tarot readers on Facebook. That's one of my things I like to watch. And the pick a card ones. I like the pick a card ones. And there's a couple of YouTubers that I actually like watching because whenever I pick a card, they're like on point with what they're saying, like what's currently going on in my life. And the most recent pick a card was what is it that my higher self wants me to know, or something like that. And long story short, it has something to do with home and finding myself in order for me to live my best life. Okay, I've been on this whole quest of finding myself, or finding thyself, right? On the quest for finding myself. What makes me tick in a good way? What do I enjoy doing that I can be of service of other people? It's one thing to be of service and just don't want to do it. And then the people like that's supposed to be serving you because you're a customer and they don't want to do it. For me, at least, I can feel it. And I don't want your service, and I don't want you in my face if you give me funky attitude, because you don't want to be there anyway. So basically what I'm saying is we all should be serving each other in some form or some capacity. We should be serving each other. But the question is, what can you do that you enjoy, which actually is serving another person? So that was another thing too, like for me, like knowing myself. And I love to teach. I love to share knowledge. I've said this before. I do not like the idea of someone who doesn't give you the information that you're asking for. You have to basically pull it out of them like you're trying to pull teeth just to get information. I don't like that, because I freely give information. I freely do that. Like, it doesn't bother me that, oh, if I give this person too much information, then they're going to outshine me. I don't want to be outshined. Like, I don't want to shine. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to not be seen and not to be heard, but I don't need to be in the front. I don't need to feel the need to be seen. And maybe because it's just my personality. Okay, let me go back some. Okay. So on August the 8th, I started watching this Netflix show called The Crown. Why I decided to watch it on August the 8th, 8/8, right? I don't know. I don't know why I decided to watch it, but I felt the urge to watch this show. So I'm looking at the show. I'm getting really into this show. And then it dawned on me, whenever the queen walks into a room, no one asks her who she is. Really, she don't have to say anything. They already know who she is. However, when she walks into a room, there's someone announcing who she is. Queen Elizabeth, da, 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 da. And everybody looks at her and either bows or curtsies or whatever like that. Now, not saying that I'm arrogant or anything like that, but what I'm saying is I don't feel the need to be out in front to tell people who I am. I just walk in a room and you figure out who I am. That's just me. I've been told, like I've gone to different places, just random people will come up to me or they'll say something like they say it's just something about you that's just royal. That's just, you know, there's no room, there's no patience for nonsense or something like that. In so many words, they were just saying like there's something royal the way I carry myself. Now, I don't walk around like Queen Elizabeth, with a crown on my head. I don't do that. But what I'm saying is, it's like the way I carry myself is I don't feel the need where I need to be out in front like some people in the entertainment business where they have to shake their behinds and take their clothes off or say a bunch of foul language to a beat to get followers, to get recognition. Like that's just not me. That's not me. That's the thing with this whole YouTube channel thing. Like I don't feel the need to keep posting, to keep live streaming, to keep, putting out stuff to get people's attention. Like I don't. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, yeah, the algorithms is why some people don't see my stuff. But at the same time, I'm not promoting my stuff. And at the same time, I'm like, you know what? If people catch me, fine. If they don't, that's fine too. Like, I don't feel the need to have so many followers. I don't feel the need to do that. Like, if you want to know me, you will come find me. Again, like when the Queen Elizabeth enters the room, she does not open the door. Someone else opens the door for her because she is queen. And when she walks in the room, she doesn't say, "Hi, everybody, I'm Queen Elizabeth." No, she is announced to the audience who she is. Like nobody knows who she is, but again, she is announced. It is announced when she enters the room. Queen Elizabeth, queen of whatever, whatever. And that's one thing I noticed about that show, The Crown. It's like whoever's wearing the crown, that person can be, listen to advisors, listen to advice, because that's what you do. You want to listen to the experts. You want to listen to people, what they have to say, and hear the warnings and what you think the strategy of approaching a circumstance or a situational crisis. You want advisors, you want smart people around you. But at the same time, when you're queen, people come and ask you for your approval because you get the last say. So anyway, again, with this show, The Crown, I just thought about that about myself. It's like, and that's one thing that apparently I have to work on. Like, I have to get out of the hermit phase of my life, back to the tarot card, picking the tarot card thing. Because I'm already what I'm supposed to be. I am in the process of finding myself, but I'm already who I am to be. I am a part of source. We all are parts of source. We all are perspectives, and we all are essence of the source. We're pieces of the source. And so whatever that's in me, that's of me, no matter what, no matter what is going to be the greatness that I am supposed to portray to the world or wherever I go. And see, I am a very low key person. I am not extroverted at all. I'm not extroverted at all. Because again, I have this mentality like my work should speak for itself. Right? I did X, Y, and Z. Here you go. It's on a piece of paper. Why do I need to keep speaking about myself? To me, that's tacky. Let someone else speak for me. Let someone else read my credentials. It's done. It's the past. I've done it. I've done the prerequisite. Why do I need to talk about myself? It's very tacky. Again, I'm looking at this show, The Crown on Netflix, and I'm saying to myself, this is how I feel. Like, if I done X, Y, and Z, my work speaks for itself. Why should I have to speak for myself? Why do I have to sell myself? As far as I'm thinking about job opportunities right now, mobility, upward mobility, career advancement, all of this stuff is going down right now. Like last month, I just got in this, and again, with picking the card tarot, I'm picking a card and I'm listening to this tarot reader. And this tarot reader is basically saying what I have already been doing and to keep it up. And so last month, I was in the process of not reinventing myself as far as upward mobility, career, and all that type of stuff. But basically, I was looking at what I do great and cultivating it and creating it in a way that I can sell a pitch. Again, this is not my strong characteristic of myself. Trying to persuade someone of my worth, of my value. It's called articulating your value. This is something that was suggested by one of the higher ups that I was talking to, because I'm in the process of trying to create a mentorship on the job to focus on professional development. And one thing she wanted me to watch is actually through LinkedIn, by the way. If you have a LinkedIn account, there's this part of LinkedIn is called In Learning or something like that. And they have all of these different webinars about things that you can try to do, whatever. And then you get like a completion of course type thing. It's not like a certification for, IT or something like that. That's, respected amongst different employers. It's not like that kind of certification. It's just a certificate of completion, right? And one of them was called Articulating Your Value. Again, I'm the type where my work speaks for itself. Why do I need to articulate my value? Like, you should already know my damn value, especially if I'm working in your department and I have a track record amongst not only my directs, but also my team, my colleagues. Like, I have a positive, contribution to the team. Why do I need to articulate my value? But apparently, we are in a time, a place where you have to sell yourself to whichever establishment, unless you own your own business, obviously, but you still have to sell your business too. So you're still selling yourself, right? You're selling your service. So it's like I have to train myself to be okay with talking about whatever I do that's great. And it leaves a bad taste in my mouth because I'm thinking, I've been working with, X amount of people for almost 2 years. I have my mid-year and beginning year observation. They call it a mid-year review. Doing great, right? There's a record of what I've been doing great, my strengths and things that, I can improve on. Like not spending too much time trying to make it perfect because time is money. Okay, chop chop. I like to make sure I'm producing quality regardless of the time. I make my deadlines, but at the end of the day, it bothers me that I had to not really pay attention to this one document. I had to kind of like glance at it and then go to the next one so I can make that quota, that type of stuff. So, but overall, my performance and everything, I get rave reviews. I got like a special award bonus back in December for the year of 2021 for being a great, team player and doing what I had to do. So I got awarded for it. I got recognized for it. So it's like, okay, so I have to articulate my value. Even articulating my value with my direct supervisor that approves my timesheet. Why? Why do I need to do that? Shouldn't the supervisor be the one going to the employee and saying to that employee, I suggest you do X, Y, and Z for your career development because I see your strengths here. And I think this will be a good idea if you were to cultivate that and grow that in this area. It's up to you if that's what you want to do, but this is what I see. I see your work. I see that apparently now, especially in corporate America, it's like if you're not the loudest person in the room, no one sees you. If you're not the one that's always, on somebody's project, they don't see you. If you're not the one that's always doing extra, they don't see you. Even though you do a great job, you do what you're supposed to do. You help out where you're supposed to help out with. I've trained people. I've done training webinars and stuff like that because again, I like to teach, right? If I like to be a subject expert, this is what I was told. You want to be a subject expert, basically, right? I'm like, yeah, I want to know what I'm talking about. I want to know what I'm talking about. If I'm supposed to share something with a person or group, I want to know what I'm talking about. And I want to speak well. I don't want to just go ahead and say something to somebody like, okay, yeah, you can go to this website, you can go to that website. Hey, why did they even show up to the webinar if I'm just throwing out websites for them to go back and read versus me actually explaining something to them and breaking it down so I could save them time? That's the point of training, is to save that person's time. If you are training someone, you ultimately are saving them the time from going all over the world looking up stuff. And you could just make just bite size, layman's terms, whatever. So, long story short, that's where I am right now. And then again, in the month of July, I just had this urge or this desire, I could say, to just stop thinking about how it was 20 years ago in the working environment. because that has now passed. If you are not doing the most, no one sees you in corporate America. Now, maybe a little small, company, maybe. And most of the time it's very close knit and it's kind of like a family type operation, right? Then yeah, maybe you'll be seen. But in a corporation, yeah, you got to really like put yourself out there to be considered for career advancement. Not that you're doing your job well and you're strong in all these different, competencies, right? You're strong in these competencies and you will fit well in this particular position. No, you got to be the most. So anyway, I mentioned earlier in this video, this live stream, that I created an Indigenous American affinity group. And this is something that a lot of the higher ups, they keep like promoting, like, oh, you should participate in an ERG, which is a employee resource group. You should participate. If you don't see something that's, sparking an interest, create one, right? But in order to create one, you have to have a prerequisite, which is an affinity group. You have to have an affinity group, you have to have a following, and you also have to have sponsorship from a higher up that will sponsor your group in order for it to become an official ERG. Because what you want to do is you want to set it up so whenever you decide to leave or, whatever, that group is still standing, that group is still strong, it's still flourishing, it's still operating without you. So it's kind of like you put in the time and effort into creating it, but at the end of the day, you're going to eventually hand it over to someone else. Okay. So that right there in and of itself is something that is putting me out there, and is also portraying, or at least it's cultivating leadership. And leadership is being visible. Now, for me, you can lead without being visible. You can lead by example. You can show somebody how to do something. To me, that's a leader. But at the same time, with leaders, they can't do it all. And I have to learn that about myself. Like I have to tell myself, okay, you can be a subject expert. However, just know that you can't do it all. And in order for you to be the leader that you want to be, you need to be able to train people and let go of the everyday operational stuff. Be there as a mentor, as a guide, as a advisor, right? You can do that, but you can't do everything and operate everything at the same time. So it's like I've been in this hands-on phase of my career for so long that now is a potential opportunity to branch out, and it is scary as hell. Let me see. Love Life says, question, people say so-called blacks saying they're Indians but not doing anything, but the Pan-Africans always say they have Indian blood too. What are they doing? I think I understand your question. I'm gonna go back to that one. Then you said, plus I would love to get active in I guess you meant so-called Black Indigenous Committee. Okay. Sweet says, you care about your job. Some people just there's a paycheck. Don't forget the click in a group. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you got a whole lot of that clickiness going on. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm the type of person where I like small interactions, small group type things. Like once I'm comfortable around a person and I see that there's mutual interest, not necessarily a carbon copy of myself, but someone that I can kind of laugh at stupid stuff that has nothing to do with the job and we both feel comfortable, right? Um, it's hard when there's someone else that's either trying to get into the circle, and I say circle, but it's a clique, um, or whatever, because it's like you're cautious about people, and then once you find your safe space, right, your safe group of people, and then you have other people that they may not necessarily trying to be there to be friendly. They might just be there because maybe there is a position that they're striving to get to, and the strategy is that they have to go through your little clique to get to where they need to be or where they want to be, right? So it's like they're not generally there to be friendly. They're just there to try to get information, to try to get you or somebody else that they think has some kind of connection to a higher up so they can get, you know, um, so they can get kudos points. So everybody around, oh yes, so and so is nice. Yes, so and so said, yeah. So they can kind of weave through you and your clique to get to where they want to go. And see, I have to admit, there are some cliques that I know I have to befriend on a cordial level in order for me to get where I'm going. And on the flip side, it's like I don't want someone to do that when I am genuinely trying to be nice to them, and then they're just doing that just to get where they're going. So I know it's catch-22. I know. But yes, I do care. I care because I care about my character. I care about my character. And when I touch something, I want excellence to be delivered. I don't want half-tail stuff. I don't want shortcuts. I don't want to say that I did something, check it off the list, and it's trash. Like, I don't like that. Like, if I can't do it well, I don't want to do it. If I can't deliver excellence, I don't want nothing to do with it. That's just me. Yeah, opportunist. Yeah, opportunist. Yes. And so now, being that I'm in this phase of my career where I'm like, okay, I have to step out of the shadows. I just have to. I know I have greatness in me, but I have been conditioned to be humble. I have been conditioned to make other people feel smarter than me. I think they call this imposter syndrome. I'm learning a little bit more about that. Imposter syndrome. Either you're acting as if you don't know something to appease other people, or you're acting like you do know something and you don't know something. You're trying to give that, that illusion that you know everything and you don't. So maybe during a job interview, you sold the HR department or whoever that was interviewing you that you were Mr. or Mrs. Perfect, whatever the position is. And then you get up in there and then they realize you didn't know half the stuff. You were a good salesperson. You were good with persuasion, with communication. But at the end of the day, you didn't know all that stuff. Me, on the other hand, doing a job interview, I'm holding back. I'm holding back. I'm not shining as much as that other salesperson. I'm just humble, and I don't want to come across as, because I can come across, if I'm passionate about something, I don't want to come across as a know-it-all, right? Oh, she thinks she knows everything. Oh, she miss know-it-all, right? So I'm trying not to come across like that. So I step back. I humble myself. I don't shine during an interview, right? I don't, so it's like I downplay what I know. I downplay what I think the next person may be intimidated, because a lot of that happens in in the working world, people are intimidated, you know. And if they feel intimidated by you, they're gonna make your work life a living hell. I've experienced that. And so after I experienced that, the next position I got somewhere else, I conditioned myself to make other people feel smarter than me. Sad, I know. But that's how I felt like, okay, I'll get in good with these folks if I make them think that they know more than me. And I'll ask them questions to answers I already know. Now, what I do sometimes, if I ask a question, I believe that I have the right answer, but I'm trying to get confirmation. So I'll ask a question, and 9 times out of 10, I'm right. But when I ask the question, it's like I'm allowing them to think they know, and then when they give me the answer, I'll be like, okay, thank you, because I already knew the answer. But again, it's just my thing that I've conditioned myself over the years that in certain spaces, I feel like I have to dim my own light in order to not create a space of resentment. Because if someone resents you, you're not moving up anyway. But at the same time, you need to speak your truth. You need to be your truth. You need to act your truth. You need to be who you are during the damn interview. Now, I'm not saying go in there with flip flops on, chewing gum. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying during the interview, be your authentic self, but be a tailored version of yourself that could be representative of that company and that culture that you are trying to be a part of. And that's a thin line. I have to admit, that is a thin line. But one thing I've learned is if you doing a job interview or whatever, like really sink yourself down to the point where everyone else knows more than you and they want you there because they think, well, she's not a threat. She could just go, do all the busy work, because she's a hard worker and she's a proficient. That's what she put on her resume, that she's proficient and results driven, right? But then you lose yourself during that process. And then once you get in and you realize that you just sign up for a culture that would not necessarily respect your authentic self. That's the flip side of it. This is 2022 now. We're not talking about the 1950s where people had to hold their head down and yes, ma'am. No, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. No, we're past that. We're past that. So again, I'm thinking to myself, like, it's okay to articulate your value without sounding conceited and without sounding arrogant. Sweet says, go OG Green says, I guess Queen Arrow Hearts. Okay. Sweet says, you are so funny. Ha ha ha. And then Copa Chata says, honor. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the positive feedback and comments. So, so again, the message that I'm telling you guys based on what I've been learning about myself is to articulate your value. Speak up. Even if you're an introvert, just ease out there just a little bit, just a little bit. Like during the webinars on the job, and again, I'm talking about the job again. We use Microsoft Teams, and there's different chats going on. And sometimes I'm like, I hadn't said anything in like a week. I know I can contribute to this conversation. Let me put my 2 cents in there. And then I'll get likes, I'll get hearts, similar to like Facebook or, YouTube, when people can like something, and then LinkedIn, I'll follow my company on LinkedIn. I'll follow people in higher positions, that I feel like I can learn from, I'll follow them. And then they may post something. I'm not liking everything every day because to me, that's kind of like creepy. you know. But like occasionally I'll like something that a higher up said or posted or whatever. And I said, oh, that's great. Or that's excellent. Exactly. I'll just leave little things like that and then they'll like it or whatever like that. Because again, this is my way as an introvert to not necessarily verbalize me being present, but I can at least in written form communicate that way. So that helps. But yeah, the Indigenous American Affinity Group is something that I do have eyes on me from people in influential positions and things of that nature. So right now it's to get the momentum because right now many of the ERGs are very celebratory type groups where you're excited to be there. And, you know, it to me is almost like you're in a sales meeting with a bunch of salespeople and there's a rah, 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 you know, rah, rah, rah. We're going to meet that next goal. So in a lot of the ERG meetings, and I attend like 2 or 3 a month, it's very exciting. It's engaging and, you know, and the expressions on the co-host's face, you know, it's very like live and, you know, just exciting. That's not me on the job, guys. That is just not me. Here on YouTube, I can be animated. On a job, I'm very reserved. You know, I'm very, you know, reserved. And yeah, I'll say something funny occasionally, but I'm not having the camera on and just animated like I'm doing right now. Cause it's like I have a different persona on the job. To me, job means professionalism, get the job done, make your boss look good. But again, where I am now, the higher ups are really trying really hard to get everybody else to feel comfortable being their authentic selves. It's not just lip service there. And now that I've been there a couple of years almost, now I'm realizing, yeah, they're actually genuinely wanting us to be not necessarily like, you know, chewing gum and wearing a bonnet doing a meeting type thing. But they want us to engage. They want us to be our authentic selves and still represent the company. And now I'm realizing like they really mean what they're saying. Like it's not just lip service. I'm not talking about my direct leadership team. I'm talking about corporate level. Like they literally want you to talk in these meetings. They literally want you to turn your camera on so they can see you. They literally want you to contribute. Like, and I'm not saying all of them are like that. They're just, you know, going along with the culture of the company because the culture of the company has been set. The culture of the company is diverse inclusion. The culture of the company is to put people from marginalized communities in leadership, corporate level positions, guys. Okay. I'm actually talking to corporate level, influential position people right now. And like, I just had a meeting with one of them. She's a director. And she basically was like, look, this is what I want you to do. She says, I'm talking to you as if you are my sister. I'm taking off my mentorship cap. I'm taking off my director cap. I'm talking to you, you know, sister. And she did this because this woman is actually from Trinidad. So she's a woman of color in a very high position. And she said, this is what I want you to do. All the stuff you're telling me, based on what you can do now and where you're trying to go, you can do it. I said, but she was like, you can do it. And she quoted some scripture or whatever. But the point of the scripture was the lesson from that scripture. She said, you cannot plow your fields looking back. You can't do that. In order for you to move forward, you have to look forward. The past is the past. Whatever you experienced 20 years ago in that working environment, that's no longer your reality. You can't go forward looking back. So, even though that job position says you have to have X, Y, X, Y, take whatever you have right now and you create the transferable language in your resume. But I don't have to. Erica, you can do it. You can do it. Stop looking back. Look forward. So she said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to create the job description that you want. And you know me, I'm thinking to myself, I know how to write in my journal to manifest. I know that's part of manifestation. Writing something that you want. Write it down. She literally said, create your job description. Create the job description that you want. And I'm looking at all these other job descriptions online, seeing the key requirements and all that, job functions. And some of that stuff I don't want to do. And she said, Erica, write down, create your job description tailored for you, what you want to do. And meet back here next Friday. And we're going to go through it or whatever. Because she was like, what I think you can do first is to create the job position that you want. Go back and forth with HR and your direct supervisor and see if there's a need in that department for that position. She said, it can go two ways. It can be no or yes. The next step is I am closely connected to such and such person. This such and such person is a talent acquisition person. And this person hires only directors and up. So I'm thinking to myself, why is she talking to me about director positions when I'm over here creating a position that I think will fit well where I am now? So why is she telling me about this other woman that only hires for director positions and up? Then I told myself, I said, shut up. Listen to this woman. Shut up. Okay. She about to set something up for you. Okay. Sister girl from Trinidad. Shut up. I was telling myself this. Like in my skin, I wanted to jump out and say, but I told myself, shut up. This sister girl is trying to create something right now. It's called Law of Attraction. Write down the job description you want. And let the higher self, the powers that be spiritually, set you up where you're supposed to be. I said it first in case somebody want to hashtag that, put it on a shirt. So anyway, I had to tell myself, shut up. So anyway, this past week, I've been working on this job description. I've been working on this executive summary. Basically, it's like she called it talking points, just something quick about what you want to do, how you can do it, right? And for me, my skills basically is training. Well, it's a lot, but I'm trying to scale it down. Training, critical thinking, decision making, detail orientation, problem solving, investigative research, that type of stuff. Because that's what I do. I research all day. Like I am in the real estate industry on the financial side of it when it comes to title insurance. And so what I do is I analyze. Well, I'm on a commercial side of the team now. Commercial is like big money, right? Big transactions. And when I say big transactions, what we have our title examiners on the retail side, meaning our client is purchasing one house from Mr. and Mrs. Smith or something. And eventually, after all of these houses have been bought by our client is a REIT. It's a real estate investment company. They buy up houses, right? And then they sell them. So this particular client will buy X amount of, houses from individuals. And they will wait, I don't know, every 3 or 4 months. And then all of these houses that went to sell is now converted over to the commercial side, which is my team. And my team spends the time of opening up all of these commercial files, linking it up to the retail side, which Mr. and Mrs. sold to our client, right? So we'll take that work that they did on that side, and then we'll convert it over into the commercial side, right? And then we'll do updates, like did anything record between the time Mr. and Mrs. sold the property to our client to now the client is about to go into a securitization. Securitization is where basically they're taking out a huge loan, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're putting it into like this. It's hard to explain, but they're buying up all these lots, and they're going to have, based on the state, like let's say the state of Virginia, for 3 months, our client bought, I don't know, 500 homes. Okay. Well, out of Virginia 500 homes, my team will issue one owner's policy and one loan policy for all of those houses. And that's one transaction. And that could be over $300 million or something like that. It's an incredible amount of money. Okay. So we're looking for all kinds of stuff that could pop up, like, a mechanic's lien that should have popped up before Mr. and Mrs. sold the house to our client, but things like that happen. It could be like a lien, a lien that attached to the home because something wasn't paid at the closing. Like at the closing, when Mr. and Mrs. Smith sold it to our client, that mechanic's lien or whatever it was, or taxes were not paid properly. It should have been paid at closing, but it wasn't. And then a couple of months later, when we do an update for our commercial deal, we see, oh shoot, there's a $300,000 lien that just filed because it wasn't paid during the closing. That type of stuff, right? So we have that due diligence aspect of the business. Like we're crossing the T's and dotting the I's and crossing the T's again and dotting the I's again, and making sure that we don't like allow something like that to happen. You know what I mean? Or if there was like if there was a mortgage taken out, and it was not necessarily going to be paid at the closing on the retail side, but it was going to be taken care of on the commercial side. Well, on the policies, and I'm thinking of Texas right now, because I deal with multi-states, right? Multi-states, not just where I live, but also across the country. And for instance, in Texas, there might be a deed of trust. I don't know. It could be $900,000. And so we have to make sure that we add that as a requirement on this big Texas state file owner's policy and on the loan policy. We have to spell it out, and not just for the state itself, but every county in that state. So if we're dealing with 10 counties in Texas, we have to spell out all of the deeds of trust, all of the assignments. Because in Texas, there's like multiple assignments, a lot of assigning, like Bank of America now signing this property over to Chase or something like that. You got to keep up with all of that. You have to disclose that on the policies. You got to make sure that This policy is not going to cover what happened with that financing that's not clear yet. That financing is not paid off yet. We're not covering that. So we are taking exception to that. It's a requirement, okay? It's also an exception. We put it in two places. This can go on and on and on, but just for the sake of this conversation, I'm just letting you guys know that what I do does require me to be very analytical. It requires me to use my problem solving skills. If I do see something to pop up like that, how to handle it. Each state, each jurisdiction does things differently. What's done in North Carolina is not necessarily, sufficient in Colorado, right? And things of that nature. So it's a lot that goes on in this part of the business. But right now, what I want to do is I want to take what I've learned and I want to expand it, and I want to focus on the regulatory aspect of the business in so many words. Like, these are rules that we have to do as an agency to be compliant, not only with the state, but also federally. Rules, And so there are tons of things that I've learned at my current employer that I did not know when I was working at my other two employers, because this side of the business is a catch-all type thing. Like, I wasn't exposed to a lot of the problems that go on in, a typical closing. Like, somebody decided to not pay the mechanic for something, and then there's a lien on the property, or they're going through a divorce, and now we got to split up the proceeds, with the net proceeds. And, oh, by the way, there's a bankruptcy going on. Oh, everything stops because there's a bankruptcy. Or, maybe there was a bankruptcy and there was a discharge versus a dismissal. Dismissal means the person who filed for bankruptcy is not getting no relief. It's as if they never tried to get relief. It's still a problem, whatever's going on with their credit, right? If they get a discharge, then that means that that something was forgiven, right? Depending on the chapter of bankruptcy. This is all this stuff I'm still learning, but I'm just trying to keep it simple, where this is stuff that I have to pay attention to. And, things fall through the cracks sometimes. Sometimes there are processors that fail to put the right fees on the HUD. And we have people calling like, hey, this was supposed to be paid for, and why wasn't this paid for? Or I got charged for an endorsement that I didn't ask for, and this endorsement cost me like $250. Or there's a countless of things that goes on when it comes to closing a settlement, buying and selling houses. So I say all of this is because back to me creating my position, I want to get away from the production aspect of it. Every day there's a daggone deadline type thing, and more of the regulatory aspect of the business. And I'm learning so much about the areas that I'm not interested in that I almost feel like I can do it. But I was just so overwhelmed when I first got there because it was so much information. And then once I got in, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. But I'm going to do it right. I don't want no half-tail sloppy stuff. And again, what I'm leaning towards is more of that regulatory. Guys, this is what you should be doing. Let's come together as a team and do it this way. This is what you guys need to do. That type of person. Now, some people might not like them type of people, but if I have a position to do that, then I have more of a voice versus saying something now and it's, the manager will be like, yeah, that's a great idea. We'll get back to that. We'll talk about that later. And it never gets done because it's not a priority at that moment. It becomes a priority when everything falls apart. Then all of a sudden, we got to get this done and this got to get done now. Okay. Well, this could have been prevented like 6 months ago when I brought it up because I noticed it could be a potential problem. It's called problem solving, being proactive, So maybe there is position that could be created where I can be the one that can line up the ducks, and helping people like understand like, okay, it might not have been a big deal in Florida, but guess what? You're dealing with Maryland now. Maryland's a stickler for you not doing X, Y, and Z. And if you don't do X, Y, and Z and they reject your recordings, you gotta wait a whole 30 days before something can be corrected. It's not like that in every state, but Maryland is a stickler for stuff like that. The point is they're trying to persuade you to not throw stuff together and rush through things because it's going to cost you a whole lot more money doing re-recordings. That's my point. Now, I have to plug up my computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my my computer downstairs. So bear with me while I move to get to my power cord, okay? And I'm actually looking at your comments and things of that nature. So through my cell phone. So anyway, just give me a moment to move downstairs. And I don't know if I can pause this thing. Maybe not. But bear with me. I feel stiff. I'm contemplating going outside today, the beach, because it is a nice day today. So I don't know. I might go to the beach later. I wanted to go maybe about 4:30 because there's less people. And right now I've been on a roll talking to y'all. So I might stay on this thing for another 30 minutes. We shall see. The lighting in here is not that great, but we're going to just work with it. Let me close this. Plug this up. Okay. So now it's plugged up. Because the last thing I want to do like last time was be in the middle of a conversation and then it clunks out and then I have to create a new video with you guys. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is also turn on that light so I can have better lighting. Okay. Let's see. Do I look any kind of better here? Maybe. I don't know. With this laptop, it looks like it's kind of grimy. Maybe it's not grimy on your side. Can someone respond and let me know if the picture looks kind of grimy or does it look clear? Because on my cell phone, it looks clear, but on the laptop, it looks a little grimy. Anybody want to comment? I have 4 people in the chat room right now currently. So, does this look clear to you? Maybe you stepped away and went to the bathroom or the kitchen or whatever. I'm going to just keep talking. Okay. So, that's the thing with finding yourself by being your authentic self, right? You're being your authentic self. And by being your authentic self, yes, you may be rejected quite a few times. That comes with the territory. You might be rejected because you're being yourself. But at the same time, when you're being yourself, you are going to eventually attract people who want you in their space. that want you to be a leader in their space, or a go-to person or whatever like that. They don't feel intimidated by you being in their presence because they want you there, right? And I was also thinking too, way back when, that I think some people were intimidated by me because even though I was being nice and all of that, but I think part of it was because here you have this young woman working in a environment where mostly women, and most of them did not continue higher education based on what I did. And I think internally they probably felt threatened that I was going to come in there and because I had that degree or whatever, this happens quite a bit in some establishments. I think specifically like the government or whatever, like if someone has a degree, then they higher rank you or something like that. But in corporate America, I honestly have not experienced that kind of upward mobility or career advancement. It's basically what you know and who knows you, not what degree you have. So I think back then when I came into that, that working environment, I'm new, I'm younger, I went to school and, I'm obviously capable of learning and doing a great job. But it was almost like I was, the phrase gaslighting, a lot of that happened. And I'm the type of person, when people throw hints and all that, I'm thinking to myself, well, what did I say? What did I do? How was I standing? Did I offend the person because I was standing with my arms crossed? Did I have my hands on my hips? Like, that's part of gaslighting, making you feel like you're the one who did something wrong. And all this time thinking back, it was because they felt threatened. And so when people feel threatened, they kind of coddle any type of opportunities that could help the next person advance. They claim they don't know nothing, like coworkers. So and so said that you knew how to do such and such and such, and would you mind showing me? She was like, well, all I know is this, and that. I don't know the other stuff. Really? And see, I believed it. I'm like, okay, well, if there's anything that you think that would be helpful, just let me know. Okay, I sure will. Okay, bye. Fake smiles and stuff, right? So I'm saying to myself, now looking back, I'm sure some of that was, I don't want to tell you everything, because then you're going to take your little degree and take what I told you, outshine me, and then I don't have a job. That does happen. So I do understand why some people act like that. Like maybe they got the short end of the stick, and then this time around they was like, no, I'm not going to give all of the information to someone, because then, I'm not seen as a go-to person or whatever like that. So I can't keep looking back. I can't keep looking at how it was at another company. That was a different culture. I'm in a different culture now. The culture here at this company is upward mobility and really cultivating the marginalized people that work there and to help them sit in high positions, basically. Not just putting someone there just to say you fill that role with someone who is from a community that's, they're not a white male. Let's just put it that way. Right. No, it's not like that. It's like, can this person do the job? Even though this person may not necessarily have done what the credentials in a job description specifically, but can they transfer what they've learned already doing something else and mold it together where they are perfectly capable of doing the job? Right? Like, I may not know how to fix a dishwasher, right? I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to build a dishwasher, but I know how to fill the dishwasher and press the button to start the dishwasher. It's kind of like that. And as far as the how, based on the influential lady, the person from Trinidad that was speaking with me, she was like, let me tell you something. Yes, they can put on their job description of all the things they want a candidate to have or must have. However, you can still apply to these positions, and you can apply, but make sure you tailor your resume, cover letter, or what have you for that particular position in transferable language and skills. And she says, and many times people are hired not what they already know, but how they can do the work based on what they were doing before. And if that person is a good fit as far as personality and character and all of that. Come from her, I was able to receive that. Because years ago, I was told, when they used to give out rejection letters, I don't even think they do that anymore. That's such a waste of time for them, right? They don't have the courtesy to do that anymore. Many places don't, right? But when they did send out rejection letters in the mail and or email, there were a couple of times where I was told that they didn't feel like I was the right fit based on character. And I'm thinking to myself, character? Like, I went in there, I was professional, I was dressed well from head to toe. I shook the hand, in a very professional way, gave them eye contact, smile, didn't slouch over. I was, sitting in a relaxed position, but not like this and not like that. And I answered the questions and I smiled. And now I'm looking back, one, maybe they just didn't want my kind there. And two, maybe because they felt like I wasn't being my authentic self. I was wearing a mask. I was playing a role. And I felt like I was supposed to play that role that way because I've gone to career fairs, I've gone to career services, I've read articles, and this is how you're supposed to present yourself at a job interview. And this is what you're supposed to wear. And I guess ultimately, when everybody does what they're supposed to do, everyone looks alike. Everyone, talks the same, and everyone answers the questions the same. And it's like you're not standing out. You're not, the red ball over there on the floor amongst a ball of, blue balls, right? Well, I shouldn't say blue balls. You get my point. Like, you're the red ball, and then you got a bunch of orange balls, right? Or yellow balls, right? That red ball is going to stand out. So, there's a different way of looking at it. So all this time I was thinking, well, maybe they just didn't like me because of my kind, right? And again, I believe that probably did happen some of the time, but I honestly don't think. I was like interviewing for positions in DC, in like Northwest DC, near Georgetown and George Washington University, in that area near the White House and all these different places, and near Union Station, train station. And so basically, a lot of these positions were in areas where you had a lot of people like me, that were non-white males getting positions in high places. And so ultimately, that probably was what kept me from pushing forward, was that I was I didn't stand out. I was very blended in with all the other candidates. And so now I'm learning to be my authentic self. I'm learning to look ahead. I'm creating my job description, meaning writing down what I want. Because she kept saying, again, the influential person that I've been talking to, help me maneuver this whole articulate your value, career upward, mobility type thing, right, within the company. And she said, what do you want? And I'm going all over the place, basically in a roundabout way saying what I don't want. She said, what do you want? And I said to myself, I thought I told her what I wanted. I don't want to do da 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 da. What do you want? So the lesson is, for me and for those who are watching, don't focus on what you don't want, because you're going to attract exactly what you don't want. Even if you get a position, you're going to attract what you don't want to do, or you feel like you're not sufficient or equipped to do, right? To the level that you want to do it on. So it sank in after she said about 3 times, what do you want? What do you want to do? She said, I'm hearing 2 different paths. Similar, but they're 2 different paths. What do you want to do? I said, I want to blend. I want to blend the paths. She's like, it sounds like you want to create your own position. I say, yeah. But how do I persuade my current supervisor that there is a need for this blended position? So anyway, the moral of the story is, again, back to the tarot card reading. When I did the pick the card thing through YouTube, there was a couple of 2-3 tarot card reader channels that I like to watch. And they literally, this one lady literally basically said what I had already did last month. Know your worth, know your value. You don't have to go down the rabbit hole anymore. You already know. Be you. Be you in order to, how did that person say? Find who you are, or something like that. Find who you are, or know thyself. The moral of the story is, we all need to be on a journey to knowing ourselves, finding ourselves, not following someone else's blueprint because it worked for them, because they believed this and it worked for them, or because they did that and it worked for them. And I've spoken to at least 4 or 5 people, job related stuff, through the company, and they all got where they got so many different ways and so many different paths they went down to get where they were. It's like there's no one way, and that goes with faith. There's no one way to get where you're supposed to be. Based on your purpose, your spirit, wherever it's supposed to be. Everyone has their own way of getting there, right? Getting there. The same thing goes with employment. So yeah, you can read, which I've done excessively. You can read about a particular career. Getting there can be completely different from the person who got there 30 years ago. And a 30 years ago person's mindset is, well, you have to do such and such and such to get here because this is what I did. So you're listening to those people versus the people now that got in. How did you get in like last week? Oh, I just did such and such and such. So you didn't do what the person that got in 30 years ago did? No, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do that. You know, there were so many entry barriers going that direction, going in that route, that I felt the need to go another route. Or I didn't know that's what I was doing. I didn't know that, but I end up over here and I'm happy now. I went through all the, valleys and all of this area, kind of like putting the pieces together, trying to find where I'm supposed to be, right? This is a person that's probably just getting into the industry, right? Whatever the industry is. They're just getting in there. And then they're like, but I'm happy now. I stumbled into this industry because I wanted to do something else. This is the common thing. As a title examiner, within the title insurance industry, if you look this up, most of the people that have excelled in the title insurance industry, be it as underwriters, be it as examiners, be it as abstractors, be it as title specialists, be it as whatever the title is that's within the title insurance industry, they stumbled across title insurance, or they were born into it because their father, mother, uncle, or aunt ended up being in title insurance, or they were attorneys, right? And they stumbled across title insurance. Maybe they took a course in real estate law or something like that. And long story short, they ended up in title insurance, right? Because in title insurance, there's a lot of legal documents. There's a lot of legal documents, and there's always got to be at least one in-house counsel or attorney available to interpret all of this legal stuff, right? And if the in-house counsel can't figure it out, they'll send it to the underwriter. And the underwriter is the entity that actually insures your property from, transactions that are not marketable, right? And that's what title insurance does. So you go to your underwriter, the actual entity underwriter, and they have a team of attorneys and support staff and all of that. So you have attorneys that are working in real estate / title insurance, right? You have attorneys in the state of North Carolina. Attorneys are the only ones that can abstract or search the records and put everything that they find and consolidate it into one report. They call it a preliminary report or a preliminary title report. They're not issuing title insurance. They partner up with title insurance companies in order for the title insurance company to actually issue the policy. But when it comes to conducting the closing, doing the title search, which is abstracting, taking what you find, be it deeds, mortgages, liens, judgments, court orders, divorce, dead people, death certificates, all that stuff. They gather all that stuff, all that information together. They consolidate it into a preliminary title report. After the closing, they'll do another update or whatever. Then they send a final title report, a final title report. This is not insurance. This is just saying this is what it is. And that will come to a title agency or the actual underwriter. And then the title agent and or the underwriter will actually issue the policy for that transaction that happened in North Carolina. That's just one example, right? That attorneys are very involved in the title insurance industry. People that went into accounting and business are involved in title insurance company. You know why? Because there's a lot of numbers. There's a lot of money, a lot of transactions, a lot of things need to get paid before that property can transition or transfer to the next person. There needs to be payoffs. Mortgages have to be paid. In some cases, they call it a deed of trust. Homeowners associations have to be paid. Water, sewer has to be paid. Commissions have to be paid for the listing agent and the selling agent. Somebody got to get paid. Basically, when you're going to sell a property, there's a laundry list, which they call a HUD or settlement statement or closing disclosure document. It lists everything, all the charges that's going to cost you to transfer this property or sell it. And then everything that needs to get paid, water, sewer, HOA, supplemental assessments and things, all of that stuff, they're going to make sure they're going to get paid. And when we, on our side, for instance, let's say it's a state that's not necessarily an attorney state like North Carolina, where you don't have to be an attorney to do the closing, right? You don't have to be an attorney to conduct a title report or a title commitment or whatever like that. Well, they don't do title commitments. They only do title reports. But you know what I mean. So you go to a state, let's say Virginia. You'll go to a state in Virginia and let's say I'm actually going to look at an abstract to see what was found. I'm going to examine it as a title examiner. I examine what was found, and then I see, okay, this is something that needs to be taken care of before the closing. So there's a section on the title commitment that is that is like requirements. All this stuff got to get done before you can close on this property. We need this, we need that, we need this, we need that, right? And so all of that is part of all the wheels turning in the title insurance industry. You have processors and pre-processors and closers and abstractors, again, title examiners, which that's what I am. Attorneys, in-house attorneys, underwriters, who most of them are attorneys, that specialize in knowing everything about title insurance, real estate law, business law, knowing the regulations on the federal level and the state level, all of that. Now, granted, an underwriter doesn't necessarily need to be an attorney, but I'm noticing the trend. A lot of these job descriptions, they're requiring a JD and a licensed attorney. You can get a JD all you want, but if you're not licensed, meaning passing the bar, then you don't supposed to practice law. So I say all of this is because there are some positions where they might have all these requirements of what they want in the job description. But that don't necessarily mean that you can't just apply to the position anyway, because if you already know how to do it and or you have transferable skills, plus who you are authentically meshes well with the culture at the position, the people are more willing to hire someone that they feel comfortable with, that will mesh well with the culture, and train them in or maybe if you have the time, you have an environment that has the time to mentor you, right? Then you can still apply for the position. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking I've seen plenty of positions where they specifically in bold letters say, do not apply if you don't have these qualifications. Don't you apply to this position if you don't have a JD, or you don't have this specific certificate, or you don't have this specific license. Like, don't even apply. But at the same time, she's telling me you can still apply. Yeah, you'll probably get rejections, but you never know. Like, there will be a particular fit they're looking for, and it's you. And they're willing to mold you the way they want you to be molded to present their culture and their image that they want in their company. That was a hard pill to swallow for me, though. So I'm like, why are they using spells? Why they're using words in such a way where I'm reading it and I'm saying, this is what they want, this is what they don't want. And I'm saying, okay, I don't have that. Let me move on. I ain't no need of wasting my time. No need of wasting that time looking at my resume. And then she's telling me from an influential level, and she's connected with the HR people. They call it human resources talent acquisition or something. She's telling me, even though it says that, but you can still create your own position. You can create your own thing that you do well. Like, I am more investigative in research and problem solving and all of that. And what I want to do entails all of that. So I know I went on and on about this whole job thing, but I'm going to move on from that. Relationships. I am the type of person where once I'm comfortable around a person and, we have some similarities and I feel like I can just kind of relax, those are the people I invest my time with. Those are the people I would drive cross country to hang out with them. Those are the people where if they need some kind of motivation or they want support and they're not getting it from people they thought they would get the support from, as far as, emotionally and stuff like that. I'm the one, because I see you as someone I don't mind investing in. I don't mind investing in this relationship. Now, of course, I have less than these many people that I consider that close to me where I'm willing to spend extra time cultivating a relationship. Less than less than 5 people. And what's disappointing is that when circumstances change and you're not close to these people physically, right? You're not anywhere near them. The closeness of the relationship starts to evaporate. And yeah, there's social media and things of that nature, but then when you're noticing things that are said that's kind of way out there, and you're wondering to yourself, this person has definitely changed their mindset. And change is good, don't get me wrong. Not all change is bad. But the change is almost like, while this person is changing their mindset, is it this person or is it the person they're involved with rubbing off on them? And if that's the case, there's no room for me anymore as a valued friend. And I've been several months now, have been contemplating the time and effort I've spent over the years learning to be okay with allowing people to be my friends. Not cordial friends, not just a Facebook friend that you don't know nothing about. I'm talking about people that you spend time with. And I'm very, what's the word? I'm very picky when it comes to people that I want to let my hair down around, because not everyone is in your court. Not everyone is in a position to want to see you do well, because if they're doing well and you're kind of here and they're here, it's fine. If you both are doing well and you're both here, that's great. But if you get right up here and you're still there supporting this one and loving on this one as family, and all of a sudden you're noticing the interaction has shifted in a very condescending way, and then you're thinking, this is me giving everybody the benefit of that. Well, maybe that person meant it this way. Or maybe so-and-so meant it that way. And then I'm noticing, wait a minute, this person hasn't liked any of my stuff for like a month. But I'm liking this person's stuff. I'm putting heart emojis on this person's stuff. I'm supporting this person. I send private message to this person, checking in to make sure they're okay, and I'm getting short answers. But yeah, I'm not going to get into the details because this person might be watching. And this can go for anybody that's been any kind of friend to me, right? But it's disappointing. And in order to preserve what was, I've learned to disengage and wait for that individual to reach out. Because if I'm constantly reaching out, and not like every day reaching out, but like after like 3 or 4 days and you reach out and no one's reaching back, and then you like something or you comment and you get a quick like comment back, like, no, not the way it was, like when you greet your bestie or whatever, you like, hey girl, how you doing? None of that's going on. Now, I do live in a different place, and people that I care about live in different places, nowhere near here. Not nowhere near here. And I choose, because no one made me, I choose to travel to see people I care about. I choose to book hotels. I choose to eat out on my own dime. No one pressured me to do it, but I felt that's something I would want to do, because I'm in a position where I'm more flexible to go places and go into hotels and all that in order to preserve relationships. Like, for instance, I posted something and I said, something, love you guys, da da da, and didn't get a like from the person I tagged. No like, no comment. And then the next day, I see post on this friend's page, and then I saw something that I liked, and so I did the heart thing on Facebook. And then I mentioned something about, I think your children are blessed to have you. And I did get a response back, like, thank you so much, but it's very distant. I'm like, what's that? What's that about? I don't get that. Then I thought about it. I thought about it a little bit more, because I make it a habit. I actually intentionally don't share too much of what's going on in my space and where I live now. And part of it is because where I stay, most people want to be here. It has its ups and downs. It's not utopia for me. And I trusted, the journey, and I took a leap, and I'm here where I am now. Okay. Without getting too much into it. Right. So I'm here. But on outside looking in, when people see where I am, I can instantly see the energy shift in them. Instantly. And I kept things to myself because I wanted to not have that cause someone that I care about to be standoffish. So in a roundabout way, someone I cared about asked me, where do you stay again? And I've been here for a while, so it just rolled off my tongue. What? You stay there? Oh my God. Da, 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 da. How far are you from this? How far are you from that? And then all of a sudden, after about an hour, the energy shifted. The conversation kind of got like very short. And then when I posted on Facebook about having, time spent there and da da da, and love you guys, until next time, no like. I'm like, really? Like, are we there again? Like, and I say again because without saying too much, it's like I want the best for everybody. But when things are seemingly good for me, I'm not the one always broke. I'm not the one always frustrated and pissed off of everybody. I'm not the one that, got something negative to say. Now I'm in a space where I'm not living in a negative, bubble. I'm attracting what I want in my life. There's still bumps. That's life. You're going to deal with stuff. But at this place, I mean, if I were to look back 5 years ago, would I thought I would be here? The answer is absolutely not. I would have still been living in Northern Virginia, going through traffic, taking a toll road, being around a bunch of people. I still would have been in Northern Virginia. And I do miss the conveniences of things that I don't get here, but I don't miss it as far as all of the other stuff. But yeah, so it's disappointing. And again, this is why, you know how some people like to post everything on Instagram, like, my life is beautiful. I'm on a yacht and I'm traveling the world and I'm in Egypt riding a camel. That gets on people's nerves because you're rubbing it in their face. Not that they're necessarily jealous of you, but just rubbing it in people's faces, it gets on people's nerves. But when you have someone who occasionally might say something that happened that's nice, and out of respect for other people, that they know that ain't experiencing that, you don't just throw it in their face all the time. And as soon as I posted something, I think every 3 to 6 months, I might post something about it, the area or something where I am. And then I'll get like a condescending comment or something like that. If you were here, I would be happy for you. If you were here, I would be happy for you. And once again, I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, maybe this person was in a bad mood that day. Maybe this person is frustrated with whatever they're going on in life that I don't have to deal with. I'm just giving all these excuses because I want to preserve the relationship. And there's a billion people in this world. People that's watching this video that I've never met in my life, that they are interested in what I have to say. But yet, me being the type of person I am, is like once I invest in something, it's hard for me to detach from whatever it was that I was trying to preserve. It could be anything. It could be anything. And many of you out there probably feel the same way. Like, you're already in it. Yeah, it sucks, but it's familiar. I don't want to start over. I'm just going to deal with it. And I'm at a point in life now, guys. I'm at a point right now in life where I have to not only know my worth, but I have to surround myself around people who will celebrate me and vice versa. Good times, not so good times. You need a shoulder to lean over? Great. If you celebrate something magnificent that happened to you, great. I'm happy for you. I want to see you win. I want to see you win. Now, whatever you're doing that's winning in your eyes, I may not necessarily think is winning in my eyes. That's not my definition of winning. Like, I don't need to travel the world to feel like that I'm winning. But some people do. Some people, they're world travelers, And part of that is also to show that in order to do this, you have to have abundance of wealth if you're going to do it in comfort. But you still need airfare. You still need a boat ride. That costs money. Once you get there, you might be able to stay in a hut or something. But you get my point. You get my point, right? But, just because somebody travels the world and does all these fancy things, that's not necessarily a win-win for me. That's not what I want to do that make me feel like I won something. But if it's their win, I'm happy for them. Now, side note, when you invest in a relationship and their win is there's no space for you in their win, meaning they're winning, but there's no space for you then that's sad. And that has happened too, by the way. No bad energy, no bad vibe, but just that person's win did not have space for me. Now I see this person all the time on Facebook. You know, this person likes my stuff. I like their stuff. But at this point in life, it's very cordial. There's no close interaction anymore because there was no time for me. And again, that's fine because things change, situations change, people change. I change. Now, if I was around somebody once upon a time and all I did was complain, because I did, and I felt like I had grounds to, but I had to break out of that cycle of negative thinking, right? But once upon a time, all I did was complain, and I attracted people that also complained too, and we just bonded because we were trauma, vultures or whatever, because we felt like we were being heard by someone who experienced the same BS that we were experiencing. That was our comfort zone. And so I had to learn that that's not going to get me anywhere by constantly focusing on what went wrong, because you're regurgitating that. And what you're doing is you're attracting more of the negativity. So if I met somebody during that period of my life, and then I got away from that thinking, then all of a sudden, oh, she thinks she's better than me. No, I know I'm better than the way I was thinking. I know you're better. I want you to do better. I want you to live your best life. I don't want you to be miserable all the time, because I don't want to be miserable all the time. But again, that's when people start to kind of detach from each other, because it's almost like, well, you're here now and I'm still here as far as my thinking. And I don't want to be up here. I want to stay down here because this is familiar. This is where I want to stay. And you're not staying here with me, so I can't be your friend anymore. So, the moral of this story is, be okay to disagree. Be okay to detach from what's not serving you. It could be friends, it could be family, what have you. Job, what have you. If it's not serving you, move on. It is okay. They are doing you a favor. By them washing their hands of you, if they chose to step away, they're doing you a favor. Me, it takes a lot more effort for me to step away from someone. But once I've stepped away, that's it. The gates closed. That's me. I'll give you chance after chance after chance after chance, thinking about all the different reasons why this person is saying this or didn't do that. Maybe it was this, maybe it was that, because I am a Libra. I'm a Libra. We always thinking I'm an air sign, right? Always thinking and seeking balance and indecisive, right? That's one of the cons of being a Libra. You're indecisive because you're looking at all the different ways and paths and reasons, and just get to the point and make your point. So as a Libra, which my season is coming up soon, by the way, that's something that I am working on as well. It's like, if it's not serving me, gradually, maybe not instantly, but gradually, let it go its way, that way and that way. And it's difficult, especially if you've been investing in something or someone for years. And it's scary to know your value, but trying to articulate your value to someone else that don't know you. Because again, based on me watching The Crown, I mentioned this earlier in this stream, The Crown on Netflix. The queen does not open up the door. Someone else opens the door for her. When the queen walks into the room, she's not going to announce that she's here. Hi, everyone. I'm Queen Elizabeth. I'm glad you all came. No, she does not do that. She has someone on staff that tells everybody who she is. Your Majesty, the Queen, la, 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 la. Like they didn't know who she was, but she don't announce who she is. And this is how I feel about articulating my value. If you know me, if you know my work ethic, if you know my character, you know my routine, you know what I'm about that I present to you. If you've known me long enough, I shouldn't have to articulate my value to you or whatever. But I'm learning that if you don't articulate your own value, somebody who is extroverted, loud, has to be seen. Those are the ones that are going to go in the direction that you are seeking. And one thing about extroverts, they could be a great ally for you because they can speak for you. I interact with extroverts. I have some extrovert friends, and I'm thankful for them because whenever I'm in a situation, they're like my spokesperson. Like, oh, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so here, so-and-so, this is so-and-so, so-and-so, this is so-and-so. Like they're already like creating the atmosphere of me getting out of my shell to say, hi, how are you doing? Da, 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 right? Versus me doing it myself. So extroverts definitely have a space in this universe. You know, they're great at starting conversations. They're great at building bridges, right? And building relationships because they get out there and they meet people and da 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 blah 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 blah. And in many cases, when it comes to job opportunities, they're usually the ones so far that I've noticed that get noticed and get the job because they love talking, and they especially for the most part love talking about themselves, right? And where I'm from, and the way I was brought up, is frowned upon to talk about yourself. Put yourself ahead of everybody else in the conversation. It's frowned upon. But in the working environment, you have to have a certain level of that. Because if not, no one else is going to speak for you. Now, granted, you can get references and all that, but when you're in a job interview, you have to speak. Don't repeat what's on your resume, basically, but you have to give them another story of yourself that you didn't display in the cover letter and or on the resume. You know, you have to paint that picture. You know, you have to kind of tie in the company, what their goals are versus, you know, your goals, but you gotta like make their goals your goals, right? So anyway, I want to say this one last thing, and then I'm gonna head on out. I don't see anybody else like making any comments unless the chat is just frozen. But back to indigenous peoples. I'm thinking about Canada. I'm thinking about the Cree lady who sung the old Canada anthem. She was Cree, Indigenous American. I'm thinking about the head of the Catholic organization giving a verbal apology. I believe forgiveness is the first step. However, it does not end there. Words don't mean nothing without action. We need words in order to create something. Words. And for those who are familiar with the Christian Bible, in the book of Genesis, words were used before there was creation. It was spoken into existence, right? Speak it into existence, and then you create. So the first thing is apology, right? The next thing is forgiveness. Now, how the way people were misused and abused and neglected and everything, it's valid. It's valid. It does not go away. It happened. In order to forgive, that apology had to be done first, forgiveness. And in order to move past that, that apology has to equal action. Because this is a generational trauma that gets regurgitated every damn generation. And it passes down from generation to generation, that pain, that suffering. And then it reveals itself through some kind of mental disorder. It reveals itself in some kind of substance abuse, domestic abuse, suicide. And the list goes on and on and on. And you wonder why this is rapid in certain communities. Torture. Abuse. That doesn't go away. That could have happened 3 generations ago. Here you go. You wondering why you can't get yourself together. Why you having thoughts of hurting yourself. Why you just can't get it together. Because the healing has not happened. What happened to your greats are still in your family tree. Now, you do have those who can go above all of that and still succeed, but that's not the norm. We need to heal. We need to heal the hurts and the pain from our ancestors' lives through the present day. Now, there's different ways of going about that, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but psychologically, spiritually, we need to forgive. And that means going back in time spiritually and praying for our ancestors on the other side, the journey they're on now, and in different realm, right? Different realm, different dimension. Pray for their healing. Pray that they are healing wherever their spirit is right now. There needs to be generational healing. Whatever ceremony or traditions or whatever customs that particular clan, band, tribe, nation, whatever they did, they need to go back to that. Whatever ancient system, they need to go back. Because what was forced down people's throats in the name of you fill in the blank was terror and fear and abuse. This is for those who experience the negative side of doing something in the name of you fill in the blank. So, yes, there was a headdress placed on his head. Yes, that is very disrespectful for many tribal communities. Like that Cree lady said, she said, take that headdress off of him. He didn't earn it. Take it off. Now, of course, the tribal leader who placed it on the leader of the Catholic Church head He thought it was okay. It was like they were breaking bread. That's another perspective for another day. Breaking bread, receiving the apology so people can move on. And here this Cree lady, an indigenous woman, spoke up. And maybe she was a clan mother. I don't know. She says, take that headdress off his head. He didn't earn it. And when she said earn it, when she said earned it, that meant to me, take action. Action. So again, I see both sides. I see the Cree lady side, and I see the tribal leader who placed that headdress on that guy's head, his perspective, receiving the apology and wanting action. Receiving the apology and needing action. Because words stop there. There needs to be words and action. There needs to be intention. You can see, anybody knows anything about using tools to get things done. You have to program that tool. You have to put the intentions in that tool. You use words and intentions, and then you utilize the tool. For me, the tool is taking action. But there must be room for forgiveness. Because again, back to law of attraction. Whatever you put out there, you're going to receive it. So that's all I have to say today. There's more, but it's getting late, and I do want to take a walk and go to a place that apparently people that I hoped to have stronger relationships with. I'm going to that place. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to ground myself. And I'm going to give gratitude in that space that everyone wants to be at. And you know what? It's okay that I'm here permanently. Well, I should say a resident here. I'm not going to apologize for that. And whoever that is in my future that's going to be in my celebratory circle are going to be delighted that I'm here. Because when I win, they win. And when they win, I win. And we celebrate each other's wins. Not saying I want a carbon copy of people around me. Diversity is vital. Different opinions is vital. You know, it helps each other grow. You know, I don't want to be in a cult. I don't want to be around people that's like completely different from me. Thoughts, everything. But at the same time, diversity is essential to help us all grow and get to where we need to be spiritually. That path, whatever path it is, we need each other. Good, bad, and in between. But I can draw the line. And my line is, okay, you can do X, Y, and Z, but this is where I draw the line. Don't cross. It's not going to be good for you. But anyway, it's been great, guys. I don't see any more comments, and I'm going to go ahead and end this video. But thank you for those who stuck around. If you stuck around the whole time, I mean, it's been basically 3 hours. Thank you. Thank you for those who chimed in and came in and left. You know, thank you for those who commented. earlier in the stream, and hopefully I won't go this long without doing another video. Just a FYI, you can follow me on Instagram. Again, my Instagram page is called Empress Bina. That's Empress BINAH. I typically post there, at least once every 2 to 3 days. So, I'm still around and you know what I'm about. I post things I care about, and yeah, you can basically do that. But I got to go, guys. Thanks for watching. And until next time, toodles. Oh, be blessed and be a blessing to others. Toodles. Bye-bye.